This is a briefing for students who are considering the MA in Educational Practice Year 2. So this briefing will be of interest to you if you are a student who has just completed the postgraduate diploma in learning and teaching and are now intending or considering proceeding to Year 2, the dissertation year, to achieve the full Master of Arts in Educational Practice. It will also be useful to those of you who have been approved for advanced entry to the programme. That means you're exempt from Year 1, you're entering straight into Year 2. That's usually because you've completed our postgraduate diploma in learning and teaching or an equivalent programme, or that you've been approved through the process of prior experiential learning and are now entering the programme at Year 2. So whether you've already applied or are considering applying, it's useful to have the most up-to-date information as of now, which is August 2020. Many of you have asked about what's going to happen in relation to COVID-19 and the delivery context, the way in which we're going to teach these programs. And also you may have noted as well that the name of the programme has changed from the MA in Learning and Teaching to the MA in Educational Practice. And that's as a result of a process called revalidation. That's where our programme every 5 years goes in and gets improved and reformed and reshaped, and it now has emerged that a better title is the MA Master of Arts in Educational Practice. So that's what we will be using for Year 2 of this programme. So what we're going to do is provide you with a brief overview of the course and the modules. Now it is going to be very brief. Remember that there are materials online which provide more details on every programme that we offer, and we are in summer, so I'm not going to start teaching the course. I just wanted to give you a high-level overview of what to expect. We'll provide you with that update on the teaching delivery methods that we will use in light of the social distancing constraints and the uncertain situations that have arisen as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. I'll also provide you with a brief discussion on options for how to complete your dissertation, either by research or by a practice-based approach. And finally, I'll provide you with some brief suggestions on how you might prepare for the programme between now and when it starts. Often people are asking me what they should do in relation to thinking about their research question and what they should be reading. So I will provide just some brief comments on that at the end. It's worth considering briefly the overall goal of the MA in Educational Practice. It's actually a 2-year programme. The first year corresponds with the postgraduate diploma, and the second year is known as the dissertation year. The Master's Award is for the integration of the 2 years with 90 credits overall. 60 credits coming from the modules that you do in Year 1 and 30 credits coming from the modules that you do in Year 2. Overall, Year 1 is devoted to your development as a professional practitioner, whereas Year 2 is about developing your skills to investigate and conduct educational research and practice innovation through scholarship and systematic approaches to improvements. There are 3 modules in Year 2 of the programme. The modules are contextual studies, research with qualitative and quantitative methods, and the dissertation module. And you can see the credit rating for each of the modules there in the slide. Contextual studies is a module that develops your ability to appreciate and critique academic scholarship in the field of educational practice. So you will be expected to select, read and review journal articles, book chapters, books and to be able to discuss those in class with your colleagues and with your teachers. Contextual studies serves as a support module for the component of your dissertation that's called the literature review. So to give you the skills to use in your dissertation to develop a literature review chapter, we have the module Contextual Studies. And the module combining qualitative and quantitative methods from a research perspective obviously supports the chapters on developing your research question and identifying the appropriate methodology and methods to carry out your research. So overall the year is integrated, so we can see that the two modules in semester one, they're the first two on the slide. That's the contextual studies and research with qualitative and quantitative methods, support the skills that you need to complete your dissertation. Overall you have 15 credits for the two taught modules and 15 credits for your dissertation, which you carry out through self-directed learning that is also supported by a dissertation supervisor. So I suppose at this stage there's no need to tell people that we have a lot of restrictions as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. And as a result of this, we will be delivering all of the lectures associated with this program fully online. So the lectures will be delivered using the Teams process online. But we hope to organise some face-to-face seminars where social distancing regulations permit. That depends on the size of the class and how we can operate within the spaces provided within the college. But substantially this will be an online delivery process. And the assessments will also be assignment based. We don't have exams. We wouldn't have them anyway, regardless of whether or not we have COVID-19. The assessments for the contextual studies and the research methods are tasks that people need to complete. Often one of the tasks is called continuous assessment because it happens during the delivery of a module, and the other task is called a terminal assessment because it happens when the module, the teaching component of the module, is completed. So that will be the assessment approach. But don't underestimate the social power of the teaching approach. We will be emphasising as much group work, as much class participation, and as much collaboration as possible given the constraints. And it will be very much a interactive delivery approach. That would be the way in which we would deliver it, whether it was face-to-face or online. That is the nature of the kind of content that we tend to deal with in year two. And also from the perspective of the development of your research question, from the onset we try to have in-class discussions involving each person providing an update on their thinking, and we support our students as they develop and hone their research question, especially in semester one. It's useful to take a look at the time frame of the master's or dissertation year. Every student is assigned a supervisor, and you will probably be assigned your supervisor around January 2021, and that's when we have what we call the interim checkpoint, and that's a short document that each student prepares outlining the research question and their plan or approach for research. And often it's an opportunity to get feedback from your examiners as to what to look out for and what they will be looking out for. So if you're thinking, when do I need to have decided on my research question? Well, there's the answer. You need to be able to present it at the interim checkpoint in early 2021. And between now and that point, you can make changes, you can revise, you can rethink what your approach is in relation to your research question. But when you submit for the interim checkpoint, you need to have a question and you need to have a plan. And then you work with your supervisor, but mainly it's you that does the work because it's self-directed learning, and you will develop your research project. When we say research in education contexts, it can often be either investigative research, that's maybe what most of you would think of, but it can also be practice-based research. So it is possible to base your dissertation on a practice innovation in a college, in a workplace, or in a community context. So if you're going to do something new and you approach that in a systematic and critically reflective way as guided by your program team, then you can submit that for your dissertation. That submission will happen in July 2021. And subsequently, around late August 2021, you will make a presentation or a demonstration to support your dissertation. And following that, you will get feedback from your examiners. You may need to make some final adjustments, but you will be submitting in early September 2021. So overall, think of it as the span of an annual year. So it's not just an academic year, but this is the full span, because when you start in September, it will be the following September before you complete your dissertation. And I always like to emphasize this at briefings for students, because I think it's a long haul, and the pace is very different to the pace of the postgraduate diploma year, where in the postgraduate diploma year there's a lot of condensed teaching and it's reasonably intense for a while, whereas the emphasis on the dissertation year is on self-directed learning, and you need a lot of time for that, and you need to be able to explore ideas and develop your knowledge for yourself and to come back, and it's a lot more discursive based. I mean, there's a lot more discussion in it, and you have a lot more choice and agency as to what you wish to do. Finally, I'm often asked by students what they can do in the meantime as they wait for the program to start in September. And yeah, I think that's a very good question, and often people are concerned with the selection of a research topic and feel I can't really start the program until I have nailed that. Now, most people who come in with fixed research ideas tend to revise them in the course of the first semester, where they're studying contextual studies and the research methods modules. They tend to revise them because we open up new possibilities and new ways of thinking and new discussions about methods and the philosophy and understanding of knowledge. So what I would suggest, by all means, think about your research question, but keep an open mind, and don't be too troubled if you haven't got a well-developed concept. After all, the purpose of the program is to support you in the development of the research question. So we don't expect people to come in with a ready-made idea and to be able to stick to that and apply that. There is a process to develop people's decisions in relation to what they're going to do for the dissertation component. Yes, you can read some background literature, particularly works that you may have come across in the postgraduate diploma year that had special appeal to you, but that you didn't have enough time to go into in the level of detail because of the intensity of that year. consider the educational value of your research. In other words, consider how useful it may be, what its implications are for other practitioners or professionals, what contribution it makes to our overall understanding of educational practice. That's an important consideration, and one that I think people often overlook. And as mentioned before, plan for the full span of the year. So they're just a few ideas and thoughts, and I've just provided you with a high level overview and briefing on the upcoming dissertation year of the Master of Arts in Educational Practice. Thank you for listening.